Hi, my name is Bob Schwartz. I am a San Diego, California licensed real estate broker and also a certified residential specialist. There's only about 5% of all the realtors in the country who have attained the national designation of certified residential specialist. But with that being said, I am sure not a lawyer, I'm not an economist, and I'm not an accountant. So what you're going to hear now is just my opinion. And living in California where everybody is sue crazy, I just want to say use this as just one source for information. But before acting on it, I would suggest to talk to your legal or accounting professional and get their opinions as well. Now, with that said, I will say that since 2005, I've come out with these forecasts for the San Diego, California real estate resale market. And each one of them has been correct. And if you're interested in seeing them, you could probably just search this site, type in something, a market forecast, and whatever year you're interested in. Now, just recently, the Standard & Poor's Case-Shiller report came out, and it showed that that in San Diego, prices dropped by 0.06% between September and October. More importantly, it also showed that prices fell 4.5% between October 2010 and October 2011. And what that really boils down to in money terms is, let's say you live in an area of $500,000 homes, which is pretty reasonable for out here. And in October 2010, that home was worth $500,000. 1 year later, if you had tried to sell it, now again we're using averages here, it would have lost approximately $22,500 on average. So not good news. But you also have to consider that there's a time lag in reporting of this information. This is not like the stock market where it's up 100 in one day, down 200 the next day, up 50 or 75. That's instant. Real estate sales take time. They have to go through escrow, title searches, inspections, and recordings. So average, I'd say, probably runs about 60 days from the time you enter contract to the time you close it. Probably the fastest right now, if you're getting a loan, might be 30 days or so. So somewhere in between there, 30, 45 days, 60 days on the long side. So it takes time for these stats to get recorded. Now, with that said, the information that I think that Case-Shiller used to determine that price drop was actually derived from sales that had occurred about 2 months prior to that. And this is really not good news because that period is traditionally the seasonally strongest period for real estate sales. People want to get into a new home before the next school year starts, typically in September. And that's the best time to sell real estate practically in any market. So again, not good news. But there is some good news out there. And that, for San Diego homeowners, is the fact that I see that sales, monthly sales volume, even though prices have been decreasing, the monthly sales volume has been increasing. Now, back in the summer of '05, I wrote an article where I predicted that I was anticipating a major drop in the San Diego real estate housing market, and I thought that this drop would spread nationwide. Now, unfortunately, I was correct in that. But one of the key factors for my coming out, there were a number of factors with that forecast, was that I saw that home prices were continuing to increase modestly each month, but underlying that statistic was the fact that the home sales volume was falling substantially during the same period of time. And since this is a free market of buyers and sellers, obviously it's supply and demand driven. And if the sales are falling, the prices just can't keep going up. Now, there were other factors that I looked at, but that was the main one. Well, right now, I'm seeing just the reverse of that. I'm seeing prices still decline modestly, but sales volume increasing each month. So that's good news. Now, as far as San Diego resale home market goes, for 2012, I see home values finally stabilizing this year. Now, I'm not calling for some slingshot snapback in home volume. What I'm calling for, to be precise, is the continued modest decline in the San Diego resale home prices, at least through the first half of 2012. Naturally, barring some major detrimental economic news either here or in Europe, I think the second half of 2012 could see some solid base building and perhaps, just perhaps, some modest single-digit appreciation in resale homes for San Diego by year's end. Now, there continues to be a lot of talk about pent-up demand in this market, and people saying that there's going to be a snapback because of this pent-up demand, that many first-time buyers and move-up buyers have been holding off getting into the market, and once we see some improvement, they'll rush back in a big way. Now, I've said in a number of prior blog posts, and I'll stop here for a minute and say, if you're not a subscriber to my blog, why not do it now? At the end of this video, you'll see how to subscribe, and it's totally free. You can opt out anytime you want, and this way you can keep in touch with my opinions and with news on the San Diego real estate market. Now, with that said, back to the pent-up demand theory. I believe that there is pent-up demand in today's San Diego real estate market. But you can never go wrong buying real estate crowd has this theory 180 degrees backwards. Personally, I see it not so much as pent-up demand to buy, but just the reverse, pent-up demand to sell. I've seen many current San Diego homeowners who've seen their home values drop by 30% or more during the last 6 years of our San Diego real estate bust. They'd love just to recapture, perhaps even break even on their home values so they can then move on to a home that's more suitable for their current family or economic situation, or maybe just to move out of the city. Maybe one of the family members got a job 20 or 30 miles or up in LA, and they're doing a commute because they are locked in to owning their home because they're underwater, or if they're not underwater, they're so close to being underwater as far as their mortgage goes that they have no room to sell that property and to pay the cost that they would incur in selling that property. So if that said, yes, I do see a pent-up demand, but it's pent-up demand to sell. And I think once we see some solid appreciation after some base building, I think we're going to see a lot more inventory than is normal from these people putting their properties back on the market. And that, in a sense, is going to have somewhat of a cap on the appreciation until all that pent-up seller's demand is out of the way. Now, if I haven't bored you to death up to this point, I don't have further to go here. So I usually end these forecasts by saying that I hope I'm wrong, or at least I've been saying that since I started this in 2005, because I just call it like I see it. And unfortunately, it's been, if you want to look at it that way, it's been a negative forecast. But look at it the other way, it's been a truthful forecast, and a forecast in the past since 2005 that has come about, unfortunately. And if people would have acted on that, they may have continued to rent, and they would have been far better off than people who bought in 2005, 2006, 2007, and 2008. Who knows? Maybe as of last year. But anyway, I'd like to say that I do hope I'm wrong in this forecast. I'd sure like, hey, I'm a homeowner here myself, I'd sure like to see San Diego home prices make a sharp turnaround and an upswing in 2012. But considering the magnitude and the longevity of San Diego's real estate home value bust, I don't really believe that there is any chance at all for such a fairy tale snapback this year. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there. I hope you found this informative. And like I said before, please check out my blog. You can leave comments on some of my posts. I publish everything. I mean, and as long as it's not hate or name calling. You don't have to agree with me at all. I'd be glad to publish your comment. And by all means, subscribe and you can stay in touch. The address is broker4you. That's BROKERFORYOU.com. Thanks again for listening, and Happy New Year.